Hi, welcome to another Avenue X video, and this is gonna be a very unique video. So first, if you are a subscriber of my channel, then you probably have heard about me talking about one day I'm gonna make a video about why I started this YouTube channel, apart from trying to do something creative for myself. So this is that video, and if you clicked into this video because you searched something and this one pops up and you have no idea about who I am, well, I'm Avenue X and I do Chinese drama reviews on YouTube. Yeah, that's what I do mostly. So you probably find it's really weird because why does that has anything to do with the title or the content of this video? But you know, if you found this video probably not by accident, then you are probably interested in what I'm gonna talk about. So today we're gonna talk about something that's completely irrelevant to actually what I do on this channel. Okay, I've rambled on for too long, let's get down to it. I started this channel in 2017 around March, April, and I started with a lot of drama related videos that's mainly focused on 10 Miles of Peach Blossoms, a Chinese TV drama that now you cannot find on my channel anymore because of copyright strikes. I've taken them down, but there's actually a possibility of them resurrecting sometime soon somewhere else. When that happens, I'll let you guys know. So now if you go back, you will not be able to find those videos. You might find some reminiscence of still me talking about the drama, but not actually what I did with editing stuff. And yeah, if you're an old follower, you know what they are. And one of the reasons I started this channel is what I'm talking about today, which is my personal attempt to get over something that is very difficult personally for me. So I need to start talk about that thing, winding back time 10 years, because this year is 2019, and what happened 10 years ago. I can't believe that. Oh god, 10 years. So much has changed and happened during this decade in my life. If you've been watching my video for a while, you might have noticed that my eyes are not very normal, okay, by any standard, regardless of race, regardless of, you know, like natural sort of difference. Some people have very deeply set eyes, some people have more protruding eyes, but this is like definitely not normal by human standard. And that there's actually a reason for that. So back in 2009, I was living in Beijing, China, and it's actually around this time, April, May, I started to feel not quite well. And there's a perk of being a daughter of a physician is I kind of know more about medicines and stuff than average Joe on the street who never actually, you know, like have any exposure to that. But I was living alone. I was living in Beijing, away from my home, and where my mother is in a different city. But I kind of had this suspicion that I might have something, so I went to the hospital and got checked. And wow, I was spot on self-diagnosing. I had hyperthyroidism at that time. So there are two types mainly that you have with your thyroid. That means its function is not like normal. Hypo, the PO one, means it's like functioning too low. It's not working properly. It doesn't do enough. That slows down your general metabolism. And so that's really bad in one way. And then there's a version that's hyper, which is PER, which means it's just doing too much work. It's like, it's gone a bit crazy. So my version is the crazy version, and it's really crazy. So within about 2 months time, like a lot of physical things changed on me. Generally speaking, when you have hyperthyroidism, your heartbeat gets really fast even when you're resting. Basically your metabolism gets turned on too fast, and you are tired all the time. You can't really do physical work because like even just sitting, resting makes you feel really tired. You get hungry really easily and you lose a lot of weight. And you think that's good, but it's not. Okay, it screws up your hormones in ways that you can't even like imagine. And that is when I realized you actually have very little say about who you are in terms of personality. Because when you have that, when it's like really bad, you can't control your temper. Like you get really angry really easily. Like anything can set you off, and you kind of can observe yourself inside yourself, and you're like, why am I doing this? But you can't control it. It's literally like a personality shift that you have no say in it, and it's all hormones. So, you know, it kind of made me skeptical since then about like how much I'm actually in control of who I am. Anyway, that's not what this is about. So one of the side effects that hyperthyroidism can affect people, now it doesn't affect everyone who has it, is it can do some damage to your eyes. In like there's names for this problem, it's called Graves. So it affects your eyes. This unusual level of hormone kind of makes the fat and the muscle tissue behind your eyeballs swell up, and it accumulates more than normal. So there's more stuff behind your eyeballs, yeah? And then it starts to push your eyes forward. If you search hyperthyroidism or Graves, okay, an image, you're gonna see a lot of images, and you're gonna get the idea. It affects people in different levels. Some people have hyperthyroidism, they don't have anything that happens to their eyes, but then they can have a heart problem that stays with them for the rest of their life. So that's not good either. And like me, it affected my eyes. In the first couple of months, it was really, really bad. And then it starts to get better as time goes on. But I would say in the first 2-3 years, it was just not pretty. In a way, like the best thing that I can think of that resembles to is if you go to a Chinese Buddhism temple, and if it have multiple courtyards, the first building you're gonna see is usually where they put 四大天王. I can't remember the in Indian, like the Sanskrit term, but basically it's 4 kind of guardian for Buddhism, and they are like gods. They're very powerful, they have magic, but they serve the Buddha, they kind of protect Buddhism teaching, and they always show themselves as very angry gods. So they are like holding stuffs and their magical tools and standing, towering over you. It's like protecting the temple, and there are 4 of them, and they're like representing north, south, west, east directions, and they all look super angry. It's like they're staring at you like that. I look like that. I literally look like that. So for the first couple of years, it was really bad, and then as time goes on, it starts to get better and better. Right now, I'm at the point which is sort of the closest to before I had it, but still far away from what I was before. So if you look at me like, you know, like front facing camera, it's when the lighting is right, it doesn't show that badly. But if I change the lighting, say if it's a headlight, right, and if it's like a really strong sort of sharp shadow, light, uneven light, you're gonna see it. It's very, very unusual. Like it's definitely over the normal level of having very protruding eyes. Now, if I turn on the side, you're gonna see it very clearly. Like this is definitely like not something you can hide. It's definitely over the level of normal. I think when it was at the worst times, when I wear normal glass, because I don't have very high, you know, like bridge nose, so that's inconvenient. And I didn't have a set of very deeply set eyes anyway to begin with. So my eyes would actually touch my glass. Like it would physically smudge it really badly. Now it still does it, but it's mostly because the eyelashes are too close to it. And yeah, that's really bad, you know. So I had a couple of years that was really tough, because first, it happened really quickly. Within a 2 or 3 months, like you literally change into another person. And at the worst time, you really do look really bad. When people look at you, they'll realize you're not normal. It's just very obvious. It also creates some other problems, such as even till now, all the videos, you can go back to watch all my videos and you'll see, if you pause at weird places, you'll see when I blink, my eyes don't fully close. It's still the case till today. It doesn't fully close because apart from your eyeballs are like too forward, So it kind of pushes the eyelid, and so it cannot fully cover the distance that it needs to go. I think also actually part of Graves is it will affect the lid, so it actually gets shorter. Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, so these days it just doesn't fully close, but it doesn't really affect my life that much when I sleep. Although they're not fully closed, they don't dry out that badly. But there was a time when it was really bad. Like, sleep is painful because first I had to sleep on really high pillows, like 3 times normal as a pillow, because when you lie down, so if you have Graves or if you have this problem, you probably would understand. It's really difficult because when your pillows are too low, your eyes, there's something wrong with the tear duct that if you kind of lie down to an angle that is like passing that angle, the tears will start to come out unstoppably. If you sleep for 8 hours, you will be crying literally non-stop for 8 hours. And if you look in the mirror, you see the tear forming one droplet after another. It just wouldn't stop, and it will keep doing that. So if you sleep on the wrong pillow, your pillowcase is going to be drenched by the morning. And you can't actually do that because after 2 hours, it's just going to be so painful because your eyes have been crying all the time. Your eyes can literally hurt that much that you can't sleep. And then your eyes will be like swollen as peaches. So just to find the perfect pillow was a nightmare to deal with. And then it dries out really badly. And sometimes it just hurts for no reason. And strong light, strong wind, cold weather, you just like, you turn into a mess. Apart from this uncomfortableness, the physical appearance thing is also very hard to deal with because you literally turn into a different person that you are accustomed to for years, and now you kind of just, it's a version of disfigurement. It's just like not a scar cut through your face, but it is something that just drastically change what you look like. It's really hard to deal with that when you look in the mirror and you kind of don't recognize yourself, but then it is yourself, but then you're just absolutely abhorred by what you look like, but there's nothing you can do. The good thing is I've always had glasses, I think, since I was 8. So my sight actually was, luckily enough, wasn't affected. I was just the same level of short-sightedness as before I had it. Some people actually had really bad visual sort of impairment because of this, that they had to do surgeries. I was lucky enough. I was spared that. So my eyes were not looking normal, but they were functioning okay. And that was between 2009 and about 2011-12. These few years was really difficult. I have literally almost like no photo from that time. I think I have had a couple taken because, like, why would you want to put yourself on camera when you look like that? There are a couple of inconvenient things that comes with it. First, it's really difficult for you to meet up with people who know you before you had this. So I was like very reluctant to meet anybody from previous life, like previous time, like high school, earlier, who knew me and knew what I looked like before I had this. Because inevitably, the first thing they're gonna ask is, what the heck happened to you? And your conversation is inevitably gonna be like shadowed by that, because it's very awkward to put people in that position too. It's like not only you're not uncomfortable, but the other person's like, what can I do? There's nothing I can do to make you feel better or to make the situation better. But they kind of have to acknowledge that, and your conversation had to include this part, which probably you've had this talk or this thing in your mind a gazillion times already, so you don't want to do it again. But then for every person that I used to know that I meet again, I kind of am obliged to explain it, and it's frustrating. So I hated that. I didn't want to meet anyone that I knew before. Inconvenience 1. Second inconvenience is Beijing is a bloody populated city. It's one of the most populated cities in this world, on this planet. And to do anything, you're gonna have to go on a subway, you're gonna go on buses, you have to meet people for real. And China is a not particularly politically correct place in this type of ways, right? In the West, if somebody has like a very different physical appearance, whether they're too fat, too skinny, too tall, whatever, or they apparently look different from normal people, there's this sort of unspoken rule of not mentioning it. People will pretend they didn't see it, even if they do. They will, when they engage with you, they will completely block that. It's very fun. I can observe that and pretend they don't see it, even though they do. They will not react to it. So, that's cool because it makes your life easier because you don't have to deal with that constant weird look. But in places like China, not so much. So people are really blatant. When you walk on the street, when you come across anyone, I for a while, I had like 100% turnaround rate. Like, not because you look super sexy and pretty, but because you look weird. It's like everyone who comes across like on the street that you're walking, right? You're walking towards to, and that person would just like turn around and look at you. It's like, oh, they will look at you as a weirdo, as something abnormal. And I've had kids, right? I've never met on the street come up to me randomly, literally randomly, and they would say, why do you look so weird? Like I was like, are your parents around? Because if they weren't, I want to kick you in the face. You're such a nasty little bastard. Literally, truthfully, that's what I think. But I've had like multiple people, many people, different age group, different gender, they just like talk to your face in the most... It's... These days, I can talk about it as a joke. But back then, I was like, I really want to slap across your face. Yeah, it's really hard to deal with that. And it's very frustrating as well because you didn't change. Like, you are still a person. Couple of months ago, the same person, like mostly. But then because this physical change, now everyone, when they see you, they just see this. This is you. It represents you. There's nothing else that matters about you. We're not even talking about inner beauty and physical appearance. They literally think you equals those unusual eyes, and therefore you are abnormal and you're not like them, and there's nothing else therefore about you that's interesting apart from you look really weird. Yeah, that's like not easy and not good to deal with. Okay, so that was like my life for a couple of years, but then it starts to get better. It's really easy to control hyperthyroidism, just so you know. Cheap medicine, very easy to keep it under control. But the thing is, once the eyes are affected, basically because it physically changed the structure of your eyes, it's no longer possible to just wait it out. Like, it will naturally come back to normal. I don't think it works like that. I'm just checking time. And it's like the sunlight is changing, so the exposure, let me just lower it a bit because it's started to go over exposed. Anyway, where was I? I'm literally just trying not to cut this video. Okay, let me think. Now I can't remember where I was. Anyway, I'm gonna start to talk about something else. So when I came to Canada, good thing is people just don't talk about it, even if they realize you're not normal. That's cool. It's pretty obvious. It's not like everybody is like, trying to be hypocritical, but I think they're just trying to be understanding. And as soon as people get to know you, like I do believe they want to overlook the part of you that is like not normal. And then I consulted doctors, and there's cosmetic surgeries that you can do to solve this problem. And it's not that crazy, but it's pretty crazy. There's always a risk of it affecting your eyes, causing some visual problems if it's not done properly. And because it's very, very like surgical and fine stuff, and it deals with the nerves behind your eyes, so it's always dangerous in that respect. I think you can do it in many different countries. Like there like in India, in US, in Canada, there are doctors who are specialized in doing that. So basically they will cut a small cut here and then they would take out some of the tissues that they can take out that are extra, like the fat that's accumulated behind the eye. But the crazy thing is, they'll go behind the eyeball and to the bone, the eye socket bone that the eyeball is sitting in, and then cut holes out of the bone. So they will take part of the eye socket bone out so that the tissue behind the eye can have more space to go. Therefore, it settles back more, so your eyes recede to a more sort of acceptable standard. If that doesn't sound like super crazy, hey. It's not extremely expensive to do. It will cost you a car, maybe less than a car actually, but then your life is going to be affected for a month or two where you basically need people to take care of you because your eyes is going to get like, you know, if you do one first and then the other one, it might be easier, but then if you do both at the same time, there will be a time when you're like blind. And obviously there's always risk. So I was like, do I really want to do it? Do I really want to take the risk? If anything happens to the visual, then it would be really screwed up. Because now the function of the eyes are affected. No longer it's just the look, right? It's potentially a much worse thing to deal with. Is it worth the risk? And the pain and the money and, you know, all that stuff. It's not like, I was like, it's not like I live on camera. Or it's not like my career or anything depends on my face. So do I really need to do it? I was like, maybe I'll just keep it, like, unless one day it becomes absolutely necessary to do it, because some people do have to do it to save their eyes. Like, there could be really extreme cases where the eyes are so affected, if you don't do it, it will destroy the eyes. But I'm not at that level at all. So I'm like, maybe I would just not do it. I still haven't decided it, but over the last 10 years, they are getting better very slowly, literally across the decade. And the progress is like tiny. It's just not as bad as when it first happened, but it's definitely not back to normal. And I don't think without surgery, my eyes are gonna ever return to before I had this. But so far, like, I'm okay with it. So that's the condition. I make this video mostly just to first tell the subscribers about something I promised I'll talk about. And then also, if you happen to be somebody out there who's had similar problems like I had and still kind of having, because my thyroid is like, these days are pretty stable, but like, it is something that you may never completely fully get out of. You always have to keep an eye on it, and if it goes a bit crazy, you need to like, you know, just put a bit control over it. So whether it's gonna go fully ever, I'm not sure. Maybe it's gonna just stick with me, because maybe it's a genetic thing, maybe it's environmental exposure. The thing is, thyroid affects women much more. Thyroid problems affect women much more than it affects men, and there's never quite a sort of absolute clear explanation of why it happens. Some people have hypothyroidism, some people have hyper. It's actually very, very common thing to happen, and a lot of people have it, but we can never really find out what caused it. So because you don't know what caused it, it's not likely that you're gonna be always, 100% clear of it. So I make this video, if you're somebody out there who's having the same problem with me, you might have it less serious than I do. Maybe you have it much more seriously than I do. Maybe you have other problems and you just happen to stumble across this video. Just want to let you guys know, first, there are many other people out there like you, and it is not easy to deal with. But then before there's like a super easy, quick, cheap, not painful, 100% safe way to actually get rid of the problem, the easiest way is for yourself to get over it. I know it's like really not useful advice about just get over it. Like, how? In time, you really do get better. You get accustomed to what you are. And frankly speaking, if I don't look at my very, very old photos, I kind of don't even remember what I looked like before I had this. So, because I've had this with like for 10 years now. So I don't even remember what I actually looked like before I had this. So you get used to it. And it sounds like a really passive way of dealing with it. But, you know, maybe that's just, I'd like to think, you know, in some way, this is how the universe or how life is going to teach you a lesson is shit is going to happen in your life. And inevitably, sometimes really bad things happen to you and you seem like you just don't have control over. The thing is, you can choose to live your day happily. You can live a very happy day, or you can live a very sad day, mulling over, you know, the things that you've lost, let's just say. And it's still gonna be a 24-hour day. And, you know, like your days are limited. There will be one day that you don't have tomorrow. So might as well just live your day, actively choosing it to be happier. It's not easy, but as time goes on, gradually it will get easier. And the reason I started this channel, one of the big reasons is, I think around 2017, it was already 8 years after I had that, and I'm at a relatively stable place where I think I'm very accustomed to what I look like, but there's still parts of me that's like not completely accepting it. I wouldn't say I'm like 100% accepting what I am now, but I'm much more comfortable than say 10 years ago, even 2 years ago. So I was like, what's the one thing that I can do actively to just get over it? You know, like, this is what you look like. Now deal with it, okay? You can still choose to basically not make it affect you too much and still carry on a normal life and not let this define you. So I was like, what's the thing that I can do apart from actually doing the surgery? Because thinking about, like, you know, not doing anything for a month and then probably running into problems, I don't want to do that. So I was like, maybe it's like the type of therapy that because you're afraid of something or you feel uncomfortable with something, you do it actually deliberately to become completely numb and become so accustomed to it that it doesn't affect you anymore. It's like building immune system. So I was like, best way is to put yourself on the camera, make videos like your face, right? Not like hiding behind other things, your face. And you're gonna edit the video, you're gonna stare at your own face. And I've made many videos now, so I have like hours and hours of my face out there, probably forever, because of that's how internet works these days, in the foreseeable future, unless, you know, human civilization gets wiped out. That's a different story. But, you know, in the foreseeable future, this is going to be out there forever. This is what you have to deal with. Get over it. The best way is to actually put your face there, and there are going to be people who will see you. They might be very civil and polite and they never talk about it, but they will see. And there will be people who are just like the people that I met in Beijing, that came up to me and say, you look weird. I did have those comments, and I kind of was intentionally looking for it in the beginning, but now these days I don't even bother. I don't think I've seen anything recently at all. I think in early days I've seen things about people talking. I was almost like intentionally looking for it, and I see if I actually react to it. I think if I don't react to it anymore, that means the work is probably done, or I'm like really good at dealing with it now. I remember there's one person left 3 words. Obviously I blocked him and deleted him or her. I have no idea. I don't even remember their account name. And that person typed, "You ugly bitch." And my reaction was laughing. I wasn't actually angry at all at that, because I don't know this person. So like their opinion doesn't actually mean anything. They don't affect me. But I just find it's like super funny that somebody would just say that, and yet I'm not affected by it. So I was like laughing at that, but I was also really happy about the fact that I actually don't care. So that's cool. The channel so far, the 2 year of doing this channel, has served this purpose really, really well. Now I'm really accustomed to my asymmetrical first face, let's say very asymmetrical face on camera that looks very different from what I look into the mirror, because you know, people have this thing when you don't have very symmetrical face and then you look in the mirror, you see a different person as you see on camera or other people see. So I'm very accustomed to both the face that I see in mirror and also by other people. So that's cool. The second thing is, I think it does help me. Somebody is having a birthday party across the street. And I think it does help me to basically get over the problem. I think I'm very fortunate that I don't have it really, really, really extremely bad, because there are extreme bad cases that I warn you. You will find the images that you can find about this, Graves and then hyperthyroidism and eyes, really disturbing. And I feel so, like, I can understand these people, like how they would feel, and yeah, the suffering is really tremendous. But then I also realized this is not the worst disease you can have on this planet. It's actually relatively gentle. Even when it's like completely flaring up, it's not necessarily something that will kill you. You only need to take very little medicine and it's like controlled. And it doesn't cause like really bad pain, and a lot of people have other problems, chronic diseases. They're just like terrible, not to mention like terminal diseases and other things. So this is among a gazillion conditions that can make your life shit. One of those actually not so bad conditions, but depends on how it affects people. It could actually cause a lot of psychological pain, right? That's psychological pain. It's much less about physical pain. Even though back then when the eyes tearing thing happened, it was really painful. It wasn't like can be managed. You know, you just need to find a way to sleep that doesn't hurt. And other little minor inconveniences. So by all means, this is like nowhere near to what a lot of people are suffering. Like, I actually follow like interesting channels on YouTube about people who are suffering from a lot of really bad conditions. My life is so much easier than theirs. So this is not a competition to compare who is the most the person who suffers most. This is definitely not a trophy that you want to hold in. You know, like, I'm the person who live with the most amount of pain on planet Earth. Nobody want to win that. But I just want to make this video. I don't know. I've always wanted to make this video. Talk about this. Just talk about this to people who might be interested in it, who might be affected by it, and whoever comes across. Because I don't know, if you somehow click on this video, maybe it's just like you're meant to see it for whatever reason that would mean something to you personally. But personally, for me, this video, I've been wanting to make it probably from the first day I started this channel, but only until today I find it's a good time. The reason being, when this video, I'm filming it on Saturday, when this goes out on Sunday, it will be the worst weekend of 2019 for all drama, film, storytelling lovers. Because first you have Avengers Endgame weekend, emotional destruction. Then you have Battle of Winterfell episode of the last season of Game of Thrones. It's like double kill in the emotional destruction department. I don't know. For some reason, I want this video to come out on this explosive weekend. Cause it's fitting, probably, because these things are very personal and it's emotionally very destructive. But good thing is, you know, it's possible to live through that. And then, even though right now it's not 100% ideal, even right now my thyroid is like probably pretty good, but like it could still happen, like flare, like things could still go a bit not normal. So I have to keep a very close eye on it. Who knows in the future if the eye thing is gonna be still like this, get worse, get better, do surgery. I have no idea. But right now, I think it's a good time to make this video. And tell the world about this story of mine, which is just one of many, many stories out there. And if you happen to be somebody like me, know that there are people, many out there. Not everyone is gonna make a video talk about it on YouTube, but if you found this one, just know there's one more person like you. If you ever want to talk about that, feel free, email, leave a comment, whatever. And then also for the people who actually haven't really known about this condition, now you know what it's like. And then if you have friends, other people that you come across in your life, you suspect that have this condition, understanding them better, or like, now you know a bit more about what it feels like. Maybe you don't, maybe, I don't know. Just be kind to them, because it's not easy. It's not easy to deal with this, especially if it's something that they have to live with for a long time. Not everyone can get over it. They might be living with it, but they might not be actually very happy with it. I wouldn't say I'm 100% like fine with it now. Occasionally I still think, it sucks, because I can't use like extremely sort of strong makeup on the eyes, like eyeshadows and stuff. It will just not work. Like, if you think smoky eye can save me, you're wrong, because it's past that physical limit of how much dark color can recede your eyes. It actually makes you look worse, because your eyes are already like very protruding. If you put like really strong dark eyeshadows on it, you'll look very scary, let's just say. No amount of makeup or makeup skill is gonna solve that. So, that part, I'm like not happy, because I do want to sometimes use them, but I just, like, when I put them on, I'm like, that looks so bad. Maybe just don't do it anymore. So that's one thing I can't do because of this. And then you can't fully close your eyes, which is very scary sometimes. Like, so I feel bad. Right now I don't have anyone in my life like that, but if in the future I ever have a partner, that person has to learn to deal with the fact that they're gonna wake up and stare at a face that has eyes that are not fully closed and look pretty scary. I can tell you that, because when I take a photo of myself look like that, I'm like, oh, okay. Not sure I want to look at that every day, but whoever you are out there, it's your fortune to experience that. Yeah, if you have people around you like that, just deal with them with more patience and love and care, because yeah, it's like their life has something that they're definitely not happy with, and they have very little power to do anything about it. So be kind. Yeah, that's the end of this video. Thank you for listening to my rambling. This is already over 40 minutes. I'll probably cut out an ahs and uhs and random stuff, but it's gonna be a really long video. Thank you for sticking through this. And if you're a Game of Thrones fan, I wish tonight's episode doesn't destroy us all. Yeah, we want to see Monday. We want to live another day. Thank you for watching Avenue X. Take care.